You guys like games primarily from the 1990s and the 2000s? Cool. Me too. Now don't get me wrong, I like a lot of the new stuff. But there's just something special about grabbing the game and putting it in the console and praying to God that it still works. However, I did miss out on all that cartridge snapping and blowing because I never owned an NES or SNES or N64 or any of those fun things. No. Hell, I didn't even own anything Nintendo until the GameCube. I did, however, have several friends that were Nintendo babies. So, don't get me wrong, I'm no stranger to the Marios and the Donkey Kongs and the Star Foxies and the... What's the other one? Hell, my very first gaming experience was Sunset Riders for the SNES. But I'm not here to talk about my very first gaming experience. I'm here to talk about my first gaming experience with the first console that I owned. The PlayStation. I'm trying to think of all the games to start my channel off with. I don't even know where to start. I play a lot of different games, spanning a lot of different consoles. And PC. I don't mean to brag, but I got a pretty standard gaming PC, which is fine with me because I don't need it to play fucking... I don't even know what the kids play now. Doom Eternal? Crysis? Do people still play Crysis? But across all these games and all these different consoles, I wasn't sure how to start the channel. I didn't want to do like a top 10 or anything like that. 3 games came to mind, and they kept coming to mind. If I was to make a top list, they'd probably be in there. I don't know if they'd be number 1, but they would be in there. But that's not why I chose these 3 games. I chose these 3 games because without these 3, I'm not sure my love for gaming would be the same. They struck very specific chords at the right time in my life and just shaped me into what I am now. So for this little opening series, it'll be 3 games. 3 games that I keep coming back to. Always. I can always play them, no matter what mood I'm in, no matter what's happening. I can always play these 3 games. Always. Yes, I know Reignited's come out, and it's beautiful and colorful and shiny and new and special. Now, for the purposes of this video, I had to go back to the OG Spyro, which is the footage that I'll be using for this talk. Besides, there's 2 whole other Spyro games that I can talk about using the Reignited footage. There's several remasters and remakes that I'll probably talk about on this channel because, either it's the same game that just looks better, like in the case of the Spyro and the Crash remakes, or I never had an experience with the original game and still haven't actually played the original game, so I'm probably only going to talk about the remake. Hell, another game on this list has a remake, or dare I say, a reforged, that we're not going to talk about. Ever. Maybe. But not in a good way. No, this is not a review. I'm just a guy with fond memories. My first exposure to Spyro the Dragon was in this summer of 1998, I think. I played the demo of Stony Hill in a Sears. Now, for those of you that don't know what a Sears is, it's a department store, kind of like Walmart, except they didn't sell food. They're gone now. May they rest in peace. And from the moment I realized you could just hold down the square button and just charge around like a drunk, I knew I had to have this game. So that Christmas, I asked Santa Claus to bring me a PlayStation and Spyro the Dragon. Bing, bang, boom. What do you know? I got a PlayStation and Spyro. But I didn't get a memory card. You see, Santa Claus wasn't very tech savvy and didn't realize you had to have a memory card. And neither did I, because I was 7 or 8 at the time. I can't math. Fuck math! So this guy had to play for about a month without being able to save the game. And I never made it past Artisans in that time. Wonderful. But I wasn't stupid. I didn't have the interwebs, or magazines, or the ability to read if I had either one of those, but it didn't matter. I knew there had to be at least one, maybe even 2 more levels to this game. Little did I know what adventure awaited me when I got this little blue rectangle of plastic. First off, I had no idea that the first home world was called Artisans, despite the fact that the first unskippable dragon tells you this. Second, I immediately knew this game was special because of the music, something I didn't notice when I played it in the Sears. But boy, oh boy, did Stewart Copeland knock this bitch right out of the park. By the way, buckle the fuckle up, because whenever I go on these nostalgia trips reliving these games, I'm probably going to talk about the music a lot, because the music in video games is fan-fucking-tastic. Music and primarily story-based games. Even if the story's bad. Because I always just play the single-player campaign. Because I don't like playing with people. Because I don't like them. Anyway, Spyro has some good-ass music. I am not the first person to say that, nor will I be the last. Seriously, if you've seen anything on Spyro and you hear about the music and haven't listened to it, go listen to it. The original. Reignite is not that bad. But the original really just... Right away from playing the game, if you're not sold by the Artisans or Stony Hill music, then try out Dark Hallow or Toasty. I like Toasty so much that you've been listening to it probably for about a good 20-30 seconds. And I've been playing that instead of the Artisan home music because Artisan home music is good. I just like Toasty better. Now it's the music from Sunny Flight, which is the flight level found in the Artisan homes. And this is the first and last time you'll hear me mention flight levels, because I don't like them. Why? I don't know. I just don't. I don't have the patience for them. Then, I don't have the patience for them now. This isn't a review. I don't like them. I don't play them. I never have, never will. A lot of the dragons have some pretty decent advice to give you throughout most of the game. Such as hitting X at the very top of your jump makes you glide farther. Or that Sparks, the little dragonfly that's following you around, is actually your health bar, which is a pretty fucking clever way to do a health bar. And when you get hit, he changes colors. And if you need to get health, you just need to kill these little critters that are always scattered around the levels. And they die, and they make butterflies. And then the dragonfly eats the butterfly, and he gets healthy. And the little bastard helps you pick up gems. And it's a pain in the ass when you don't have them, because you gotta walk directly over them. The Artisan home itself is filled with orcs that don't fight back, and they just run and cower in fear. Stone Hill has a bunch of big yellow sheep, those asshole shepherds, and your first introduction to those speedy blue bastards. Dark Hollow has sword and shield Norks that actually do fight back, and they're backed up by some great big fat Norks. And it has a sick ass baseline. Town Square has a bunch of bulls that you can either charge or flame. However, if you charge them, they will die and yield their gem. But their body remains stuck in the ground for you to laugh and enjoy yourself. And I swear to Christ, there's a blue bastard on this level that took me forever to figure out how to get to as a child. And a dragon named Ford. The final level of the Artisan home is Toasty is locked away behind a big dragon head. Inside, you'll find more of those dickhead shepherds, some horrifying dogs, and a boss named Toasty. You're going to find that's a recurring theme throughout this entire game. Each homeworld has a specific task that you need to complete in order to venture on to the next homeworld. In Artisan Home case, you need 10 dragons to get to Peacemakers. Peacekeepers. My bad. This is the level where you really start to understand that Nasty Nork means business. I completely forgot about Nasty Nork. When the game starts off, there's a news team interviewing these dragons, and one of them says, "I'll take that question." And then he calls Nasty Nork ugly, and Nasty Nork's like, "Nah, fuck this. I'm gonna take over the world." And then he casts some fuck-off spell, and he turns all the dragons into stone. And I'm assuming he missed Spyro because he was too short, which is adorable.
My, this Nasty Nork sounds like quite a spellcaster.
Shut the fuck up, V. Anyway, Nasty's forces in this world are armed with pointy sticks, literal cannons, and vultures. This world is also filled with kick-ass tunes. I'm gonna use ice caverns. The dragons from Peacekeepers all look like they live at the gym. And all the Norks are yellow because hot. And they're led by this big loud asshole named Dr. Simp.
Got him!
Dry Canyon has a blue speedy boy right at the beginning, a bunch of Norks with muskets and shields, and a bunch of big yellow Norks that don't know how birds work. Clifftown has some metal poncho wearing guys, and a lot of really long glides, and some great big thick mamas. Ice Caverns has ice. And snow. Dr. Simp. Dr. Shimp has some more great big thick mamas, some little simps that run around like idiots, and to be honest, I never really beat this guy as a kid because he scared me. Yeah, I know, but I beat the fuck out of him now. The requirement to leave this level is 1,200 gems, and then it's off to Magic Crafters. Good God, Magic Crafters. Little old me way back in the day actually thought this was the last level. Little did I know this was only the halfway point. This world's dragons are tall, thin, and brightly colored, and to their credit, look quite magical. The enemies in this world aren't actually Norks. Most of them are either these short, stocky little guys with sticks that smack you, these green shits that point and laugh at you and don't actually fight back when you get close, and more blue speedy boys than I care to murder. There's also a bunch of really big blue wizards. Wizards, you say? Shut up! Alpine Ridge has these horrifying yellow monsters that if you've played this game and you're watching this video, I don't need to describe them to you, because you probably had nightmares from them too. They're kind of silly looking now. High Caves has a bunch of charge ramps and big metal spiders. I don't like spiders. Wizard's Peak. Wizard's Peak, which is apparently a fan favorite, which was pretty forgettable to me. To me, if you like it, that's fine, but I never really cared for this level. The music's fantastic though, but I'm not really a fan of the levels where the whole gimmick is the speed charging ramps. Yep, that includes that one. Blowhard is the name of the boss in Magic Crafters, and he's also responsible for these little green shits that shoot lightning at you, and there's probably a Final Fantasy reference in there, because isn't there some weird little short... I don't know. I've never played Final Fantasy. Sorry. The requirement to leave Magic Crafters is 6 dragon eggs, which, let me tell you, back in the day, this was pretty hard for little old me. It's not that hard now. I can kill every little blue bastard I come across now. Even if they didn't have eggs, I'd still hunt the fuckers down and kill them. Enter Beastmakers, a smelly-ass swamp with the most technologically advanced orcs that you'll see in this game. Almost. With shock sticks that are so powerful that they can send an electric current through solid stone strong enough to fry a dragon. This is the level where the difficulty spiked drastically, in my opinion, and kicked little old Tim Fiddle's ass left and right. Little did I know that even though the next level was filled with actual nightmares, this swamp contained the only nightmares in the dragon world. If you played this game, or better yet, grew up with this game like I did, you know which horrifying creature I speak of. All the dragons in this world are from Louisiana, apparently, and once again, your ears are met with gold on pretty much every level. Terrace Village is filled with more tech-savvy Norks. Treetops has a bunch of charge ramps, and I don't really care for this level, but it's got a bunch of monkeys that throw bananas at you and a bunch of other monkeys that skip leg day. Metalhead is the boss for Beastmakers, and he also skipped leg day. But he's a robot, and it shows because he put his monkeys in trash cans. I know, I skipped Misty Bog. Okay. Misty Bog has killer plants guaranteed to make any 9-year-old shit their pants. There's a reason the music for this level is very similar to the end credits music of the entire game, because it signifies the end times. Honestly, this time around they weren't nearly as hard as they were when I was a child. Oh my god, I still hate them though. When I was a kid, I'd skip this level entirely. Like, completely. I'd ignore, not to mention the little cave off to the side that's filled with these fucking things. If Nasty Nork figured out a way to mass produce these fucking frogs, both sides of the Dragon Kingdom and Avalar would be completely fucked. Whichever beast maker made these beasts needs to be drug out in the street and shot. If they made a Spyro 4, a for realsy Spyro 4, it would be a survival horror game. The plot, these things start breeding like rabbits and spread across the entire Dragon Kingdom. The dragons, they're all dead except for Spyro and Sparks, and his only goal is to get a portal to get the fuck out of this world because it's doomed forever. The requirement for the next world is 50 dragons, and let me tell you, as a kid, this was the make or break moment. It was pretty hard. Not now. This was, and still is, my favorite level. Everything about it. The music, the enemies, the aesthetic, the dragons, all of it. I love this level. I'm chuckling thinking about those noodle arm guys that are really big and invincible until they get shot with a beam and then you hit them and they go pew! This entire level and this entire world is tricky dicky. And all the dragons look like the Magic Crafted dragons if they did a bunch of drugs. And all the enemies are either hilarious or terrifying. Or both. And this entire thing is ironic as hell because I don't actually like Fae things. Which is what this entire level is themed after. I don't like Fae stuff in D&D. I don't like Fae stuff in the Dresden Files. I don't like Fae stuff in World of Darkness. I don't like any of it. And it's not that I don't appreciate it or understand it. It's not my thing. I don't care for Fae stuff. But I love this fucking level so much. Dark Passage has my second favorite music in the entire game. All these enemies that change based on this lamp dude. And Nightmare Turtles. Lofty Castle has whatever the fuck these things are. And those great big fat Norks that plated themselves in metal from Dark Hollow figured out a way to be even more useless. Haunted Towers feels a lot less haunted and more enchanted. I don't know. There's giant suits of armor that comes to life that you can only kill with fairy kisses. And Norks with grenades. Actual grenades. It's great. Jack Hughes? Think that's how you say it? He's the very fitting Jack-in-the-Box serial killer, clown murderer boss of this level. And his level is filled with a bunch of these horrible volcanic nightmare creatures, and then the same creatures with meat dresses. The requirement for the final level is 6,000 shiny rocks. Upon arriving in Nasty's world, you realize one thing and one thing only. This fucker is ready for war. Nork Cove is where Nasty is planning to launch his all-out invasion of the Dragon Kingdoms. Big silly Norks are chucking barrels at you Donkey Kong style, while these other goofy goobers... Get it? Goofy goober? SpongeBob? Stand on exploding barrels, just waiting to get dragoned to death. And this is my favorite music of the entire game. I fucking love the Nork Cove music. It's fantastic. And if you weren't convinced Nasty was gearing up for a world war, just go to Twilight Harbor. Because it's filled with Nork commandos. You got guys that have real machine guns, like big fucking M60s. There's other guys chucking grenades dressed up like Rambo. Like real assault rifles and stuff. It's fucking great! But, once you conquer these final levels, it's time for Nasty himself. The first time I'd ever gotten this far was on a snow day in early 2000. And let me tell you, I was ready for it. My hands were shaking and sweating and all that shit. The kick-ass music was distracting me, and I killed those two key-snatching motherfuckers, and it was off to the races. Poor bastard didn't stand a chance, because I trained the entire game for this. The whole reason I got this game was because I could hold down the square button and charge everywhere like an idiot. And what do you have to do to beat Nasty Nork? Charge everywhere. Like an idiot. Plus, those fucking frogs had hardened my nerves at this point, and I was just itching to... In conclusion, I just love this fucking game. Everything from the colorful design, to the music, to the goofy-ass enemies. All joking aside for a second, big shout-outs to Stewart Copeland for composing such a fucking wonderful trilogy of music and games, and the Insomniac team that actually put this masterpiece together. Thank you. I'm sure that if I had played something else, I would still love and appreciate video game music, but I'm really thankful that it was Spyro the Dragon was the first one that opened my eyes to how important it was to have good video game music. And a big thank you to anyone who's watching this before any of the other videos have went up, because you're probably one of like 5 people. Thanks. This is the first of a trilogy of videos. Technically quadrilogy, because the next one will be in 2 parts, talking about the big 3 gaming influences that have shaped my love for gaming. Sure, probably like most of you, I've played and enjoyed a treasure trove of games, but Spyro was the first step in this long journey. A journey that up until about 2002-ish, 2003-ish, consisted mostly of purple dragons uppercutting elves with their pet ferrets, and whatever the fuck Ratchet is. I had no interest in any other type of game at all. Shallow, I know. Little did I know, I would stumble across my next big step by sheer dumb luck.